All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Uh, Again, if you would, if you have a question for Coach Mainieri, if you would just indicate so in the chat, and we'll just ask everybody to follow the order in the chat as you see a question indication appear. Couple of quick notes before we start. The latest NCAA RPI ratings, LSU is number 26 in RPI, and LSU is number 6 in strength of schedule. Those numbers are available at ncaa.com in the official NCAA RPI rankings and strength of schedule ratings. And also LSU is currently number 3 in the nation in home runs with 52. Arkansas and Old Dominion are tied for first place with 54. So we'll go ahead and open it up to questions. We'll start with Taylor Lyons for Coach Mainieri.
Hey, Coach. I just had a couple questions about Dylan Cruz in center field yesterday. One, just like, what did you take away from his performance out there? How long have you sort of been wanting to try that out? And is it something we might be able to expect to see moving forward?
Dylan played center field the entire fall practice, right until the very end, I think. So we've looked at him quite a bit out there, Taylor. He played center field most of his life growing up, but we felt that Giovanni was going to be our number one center fielder, and so we started playing him in right field. We moved him to right field towards the end of fall practice. And I think, overall that's probably our best combination defensively and probably offensively, although Mitchell Sanford has done some really good things with the bat. I'm not saying that we won't, continue on occasion to play Mitchell Sanford in right and Dylan in center, but preferably Giovanni in center and Dylan in right field is the best combination. I think that would probably be the majority of the time. Yesterday I decided to do that. Gio had played 2 straight games, full games in center field, and, coming off the hamstring situation, I just didn't want to push it too much and have a relapse with the hamstring. So I thought it was, time to give Mitchell Sanford a game. He had been swinging the bat really well the last couple of at-bats, and that's why we took him out there.
Hey, Coach, it's Glenn West here. Obviously you guys had a lot of strong performances this weekend, whether it be from Dylan to Trey to, all the way down to Cade Beloso. And I was just curious, just from Cade's standpoint, he, I think, went 5 for 9 or 5 for 10 from the, at the plate today or this weekend. Just, what did you see from him? I mean, it looked like balls were just finally starting to drop for him. Was it pretty much just that, or did you see him take any kind of different approach at the plate this weekend?
You're talking about Cade Beloso.
Yeah. Sorry. Cade.
Yeah. Well, I've been telling you for a couple of weeks, Glenn, that I thought that he was on the verge of turning it around. And boy, what a difference it made for our team to have him become the hitter that we'd seen for 2 years here. Prior to that, we always knew that he was a good hitter. He's just been in such a rut, and this game, it plays with your mind. It's whew. I've been in this game my whole life, and I wasn't the greatest hitter. I can tell you, when you're struggling, you wonder sometimes if you're ever going to get another hit, and it starts to affect, when your confidence starts to wane. It starts to affect your bat speed. It affects how well you're seeing the ball, just your whole approach. And sometimes you hit balls hard, but they're right at people, and you start thinking you have to do something different. And I saw that Cade Beloso, not only was he struggling, but his swing was changing. He wasn't showing the same bat speed and so forth. And I thought mechanically he started to really change some of the things that he was doing. And a couple of weeks ago, Eddie Smith and I got very involved and, did some video analysis with Cade and changed a few things back to what we thought he needed to do. And he stuck with it, to his credit. Even though he hasn't been getting a lot of hits, Cade has stuck with some of the changes that we made. And even though the hits haven't been falling, I feel that he's been on the verge of breaking out of it. And all of a sudden he did. I thought he swung the bat really well this whole weekend. Got some big hits for us, drove in some critical runs for us. I thought he should have had a sacrifice fly in his last at bat. I thought the runner was safe at home, but they didn't overturn the call. But he had some really big hits, and it made such a big difference for our team to get him hitting. In fact, I thought several guys, Giovanni, Travinsky, along with Beloso, I think Jordan Thompson's continued improvement. It gave us 4 additional hitters in our lineup to go along with the 4 that have been pretty consistent for most of the year, and Cruz, Morgan, Doty, and Dugas. I mean, it gave us 8 pretty good hitters in our lineup this weekend, and what a difference it made for our team. All of a sudden, you feel like you got good balance in your lineup, and the pitcher has to work really hard to get through that lineup, and it showed. It showed in the amount of hits we got. It showed in clutch hitting. If one guy doesn't come through in a clutch situation, you got another guy waiting to come up to bat, and maybe he comes through, and all of a sudden hitting becomes a little bit contagious, and everybody relaxes a little bit, and all of a sudden you got a decent offensive team. And I thought that showed this weekend, and I think Beloso was a big part of that.
Hey, Coach, it's Michael. With the greatest chance of rain being tomorrow, have you all talked at all about sliding this thing to Wednesday?
Not Wednesday, Michael. With us having the series starting on Thursday with South Carolina, that's not a possibility this week. And I don't think the forecast for Wednesday is any better than it is for Tuesday. So James Cooper and I have already talked this morning. We've looked at a couple of possibilities, but haven't been able to come to any kind of an agreement yet. They're leaving at, I think, 10:45 tomorrow morning from Ruston. So we're going to have to make a decision probably by 9:30 or 9:45 whether or not to even let them leave, because they have a rather lengthy drive from Ruston. And we don't want them to drive if we're not going to have a chance to play. And we're going to, look at there's not really many options left on the schedule with this, kind of winding the schedule down to its last 6 weeks here, or after this week, it'll be only 5 weeks left in the schedule. So, with 5 weeks left in the schedule, we only have, there's only a couple options, because 3 of the 5 weeks are Thursday through Friday schedules. Thursday through Friday weekends, I should say, in the SEC, and we already have games on Tuesdays of that week. So as you might imagine, there's very limited options available. So we're gonna look at some things, talk to our people here at LSU. He's going to talk to his people at Grambling. We'll talk again in the morning, and hope that the forecast, can change a little bit. Maybe that storm will come through. The latest forecast we have is that it's supposed to move through about 9 o'clock. But, around here, sometimes those forecasts can change ever so slightly. Maybe it'll get pushed through a little bit earlier, and we'll be able to maybe be slightly delayed, not delayed too much, and be able to still play tomorrow night. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. We'll see.
Hey, Coach, and I know you just mentioned the consistency of the offense this last weekend, and I'm curious just how, maybe the hitters responded this weekend as opposed to maybe the last couple of weeks where it was just kind of a little bit of rough going for you guys. I mean, did you see a different mindset from the hitters as a whole? And I guess do you kind of envision, a little bit more consistency moving forward with the lineup that you guys used for the most part this last weekend?
Well, yeah. Travinsky was the number 1 catcher, for Friday and Saturday. I think he hit a wall about the 7th inning of game 2, though, physically and mentally. He hadn't caught 2 days in a row. I don't remember when the last time he would have caught 2 days in a row, probably his senior year in high school. I know he didn't do it last year, and then he didn't catch it all this summer. He didn't play it all this fall. Physically, I know it taxed him, and he had that one ball go between his legs with the runner on third base, which he hadn't done at all in the first game and a half of the weekend. I could just tell he was starting to get tired, and losing his focus a little bit. His at-bats in the second half of game 2 were not the same quality of at-bats that he was showing in game 1 and the first part of game 2. So we replaced him, with Alex in the last couple innings of game 2, and then started Alex in game 3. So, but I think when Travinsky's in there, it gives us another potential bat, powerful bat in the lineup. I thought Giovanni did some good stuff with the bat. I just think, that Eddie Smith has done a really good job working with the guys, and they stay in the course. The kid that started game 1 for them, for Kentucky, I should say, if you look at his numbers going into the game, he had an ERA of 1.91, I think. He had over a strikeout an inning. I think he had close to 40 strikeouts, if I'm not mistaken, and he only had like 5 walks. So he had really put up some good numbers. We watched him on film. He was a real bulldog. We thought he was going to be, an elite pitcher that we were facing, but he also was a strike thrower, very similar to Marceau. And it seemed like their hitter's approach was the same approach that Eddie had our hitters prepared to do, and that was to go up there and be very aggressive. I'm not sure I've ever seen a game where the first 7 hitters of the game, our first 4 hitters, and then their 3 hitters in the bottom of the first inning, all 7 hitters swung at the first pitch that they saw. First 7 hitters of the game. And you could see that both teams knew that the pitchers were going to throw strikes and to go up there and attack. And, of our 4 hitters, Cruz hit a home run. The other 3 hitters made out. And then Kentucky's 3 hitters made out in the bottom of the first inning. But that aggressive mindset ended up paying off for us in the long run, I think. And, paid off for us offensively. And it also paid off for us defensively because they hit into a lot of early outs. We were fortunate that they hit a lot of balls right at people, and that allowed Marceau to pitch deep into the game and save our bullpen. So you live by the sword, you die by the sword. For us, it worked out good. For Kentucky, it didn't work out good. And yet it was literally the same approach offensively. So I think, Glenn, it was just really both teams had a very aggressive mindset. It worked for us. It didn't work out as well for Kentucky.
Hey, Coach. 2 of the guys that I think have really sort of took off the most the past couple of weeks are Jordan Thompson and Cade Beloso. With Cade, you've talked plenty of times about the mechanical adjustments and tweaks you guys made with him. With Jordan, I'm wondering, was there anything similar, like any mechanical adjustments or tweaks you made with him, or do you think with him it's just he's finally putting it all together?
I think, Taylor, you're always, working on mechanics and so forth. I think with him, it's just becoming more and more experience at the collegiate level. By nature, he's got a little bit of a pull swing, and I think Eddie's worked a lot with him on trying to hit the ball to the opposite field. He could be hitting for a higher average, except the other teams have looked at his spray charts, and they're playing him as a dead pull hitter. Very frequently, you'll see that they'll put 3 infielders on the left side of the infield. They'll put their shortstop way over in the 6th hole, almost shaking hands with the third baseman. And he's probably hit a half a dozen balls really hard that would typically be in the hole between short and third, but they got their shortstop playing so far over there that they've turned him into easy outs. I know Vanderbilt probably robbed him of 2 or 3 hits, and even Kentucky did this weekend. But then he's also starting to hit the ball the other way. He hit a ball, I think he hit a triple to right center field, if I'm not mistaken. He hit one against Mississippi State in the right center field gap. I think he hit another one against Kentucky through the second base area. And the more he's able to hit the ball to the opposite field, the more success he's going to have and the more unshiftable he'll become, which will open up more holes for him on the left side of the infield for his natural swing. And I think those are some of the things that Eddie Smith's working with him on. One thing about Jordan Thompson, I will tell you this: he loves the game. He works very hard at the game. He'll work all day long if you let him. I mean, he'll live in those batting cages. He's just obsessed with the game. He comes from a long list of LSU players that are just obsessed with the game of baseball, and he loves it, and he can't get enough of it. And he's going to work so hard at it. And that's one of the reasons why I've stuck with him through the tough times, because I know how much it matters to him. And I think he's really played well. I felt so bad for him, that error that he made in the seventh inning yesterday. It was a pivotal play in the game. It was a 5-3 game, and Michael Fowler was throwing good and routine ground ball to short, and Jordan threw the ball, low, and it got past Trey, and nobody felt worse than Jordan did. It kind of turned the inning around in a negative way for us. Now, that was only his fifth error of the entire year. If you'd have told me after 32 games that Jordan Thompson would only have 5 errors, if you'd have told me that 2 months ago, I would have been shocked. It shows you how well he has really played for us at shortstop. And, he's really been a good player for us this year, and he's going to get nothing but better. I think LSU has a really outstanding player on their hands with Jordan Thompson. He's going to continue to get better and better. And I felt so bad for him when he made that error. And obviously it didn't work out well for us after that, because he just works so hard, and he's continuing to improve all the time. I saw where he was named freshman of the week with the SEC, and that was a very well-deserved honor for him. He had a tremendous weekend all weekend, and he's done good things already, and he's going to continue to do good things for us.
Hey, Coach, I do have one more for you in terms of just kind of the pitching plans for this week. Obviously, it hinges on whether or not you guys play tomorrow, but do you guys see Will Helmers kind of starting tomorrow? And then, also I wanted to ask about Blake Money. Did you see enough from him to maybe pencil him in as a Sunday starter, or are you guys going to still do that thing where you play it by ear and see, which guys you have to use before making that decision on Sunday or Saturday? Sorry.
First of all, Will Helmers will start tomorrow. We need to, I really hope we can play tomorrow, because I really want to take a look at some of the guys that did not make the trip this weekend, because obviously we didn't get great performances out of our bullpen this past weekend. Yes, but yesterday especially, I should say only yesterday, really. Up until then, the performances were great, especially Fontenot and Vittmeyer and Garrett Edwards all did tremendous for us. But yesterday was not so great. And I want to see Theo Millis. I thought threw really well last week. We've got a couple of kids that are working their way back in, and we need to get them into a game. Zach Murray, Brooks Rice, possibly. I really want to see Javen Coleman in a game again. See what he can do. Trying to think, there was somebody else I really wanted to see throw tomorrow. Hold on one second. Yes, I wanted to see Alex Brady get back in there again as well, and just see what the best options are going to be for us going into the South Carolina weekend with our bullpen. We've got to get better with the depth of our bullpen. Because what we did yesterday, just we got to be better than that. And as far as Blake Money goes, I thought Blake really represented himself well in his start this weekend. I thought he showed great poise. He threw a lot of strikes. I thought his stuff was good. I think he struck out the side one inning. I think he had 6 strikeouts in the 4 innings. He left 2 changeups up that they took advantage of. Listen, the conditions yesterday were not all that great. It was very windy. It was cool. It was actually a drizzle for most of the game. The wind was blowing out about, I don't know, Bill, what do you think? Close to 20 miles an hour, I think, wasn't it?
But it was 15 to 20, yeah.
Yeah, and Kentucky's got a good hitting team, so they hit 2 2-run home runs, and then they had that very unorthodox sacrifice fly where Mitchell Sanford made a great catch, but because he was rolling around on the ground, runner was able to score from second base on a sacrifice fly with, what turned out to be 2 outs. Had he stopped at third base, who knows if the next batter would have got a base hit with 2 outs. I thought Blake did a really fine job, and certainly he's qualified to start again. I don't know that we'll name him yet to be the starting pitcher in Game 3. Again, I think we need to play one game at a time and decide, what we'll do. But certainly it's a candidate. But again, we don't know what's going to happen in the first 2 games, and we're going to play them one game at a time and give ourselves the best chance to win on a given day.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. Thank you, Coach Mainieri.
Okay, guys.
Thank you.